Here we are. It is that time of the week. It is Wednesday, my friends, and that means we have another Tinto Talks to go over, and this time, of course, we're going to be talking about colonization, which is one of the absolute key pillars of EU4. It is what sets the game apart. It is one of the things that is most important to get right in a sequel to EU4, which Project Caesar almost certainly is. And let's be real. This got to be good. This has got to be good. And well, without further ado, we'll get into it. Lovely little bit of artwork here. Bit of foxes, bit of beavers. I don't know what that creature is in the foreground here that you can only see a little bit of, but I don't think it's a beaver. It might be I don't think it's a beaver. But either way, lovely little bit of artwork here. Of course, furs being very, very important to the trade networks after colonialism was set up. So that definitely makes sense for it to be included. But yes, without further ado, let us get into the Tinto Talks. Happy Wednesday, where we give you lots of information about our upcoming still secret and unannounced game with the codename Project Caesar. Today we'll delve into the AI again, buddy. AI again. We'll delve into the mechanics of colonialism, another aspect of painting the map. Uh-oh, people gonna be mad already. So, power projection. One important factor that has a big impact on the colonialism game is power projection. Each country has a power projection value, and it's primarily to allow a country to be able to exploit those with a lesser power projection. Power projection is very dependent on how advanced a country is, where each age has an advance that gives you about plus 10 of it. It's also modified by societal values, rank of the country, and more. One aspect of this is that the plus 10 advance for age of traditions is in the advance tree from the meritocracy. Okay, well, hang on, this didn't read right to me. One important aspect is that the plus 10 advance, so one of these advances in there, for the age of traditions, is in the advance tree from the meritocracy. Okay. Advanced tree from the meritocracy. I don't understand what this is. I mean, we've learned about technology, but I can't. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, let's move on regardless. Maybe we'll understand it in a bit. And if you already understand it, feel free to leave in the comments section below what I am missing, because I'm clearly missing something about that. You do not gain PP by doing specific actions like in EU4. Why would this be relevant? Good sir, this is an unannounced and still secret game. It's clearly not the sequel to EU4, so why would it be relevant? So yeah, it's not done by specific actions, but it's entirely based on your country's current setup. So, power projection of Sweden. It is outward. It is a kingdom. So we have 6.5 there. Sadly, the Sweden is properly balanced modifier has not been developed yet. Right, of course. The plus 10 for being Sweden needs to be there. So, colonial charters. How does colonization work in Project Caesar? Well, you colonize by starting a colonial charter in a province for an upfront fee in gold. Then each month, some of the population will be moving from the homeland to the colonial charter until all locations that can be owned are owned by you. In almost all cases, there are people living in a location you want to colonize. So for you to be able to have a charter to flip to your ownership, there are a few rules. A location needs to have at least 1,000 people living there. Okay. This is kind of, we had this in EU4, the 1,000 people colony thing. Alright. A certain percentage of the population needs to follow your state religion or be of an accepted culture of your country. Okay, so what is the certain percentage? This is definitely something new. So, colonial progress, colonial charter of Söderosterbotten, so southern eastern Bothnia. This is in Finland. These are individual locations. Of course, Kopo, Pedersöre, Storchiro, Karleby, Kausby, Lapo, Vero. And they're being settled, so as it progresses, you can see the percentage here. I'm not liking the, 5%, 15%, 10%. Like, I would prefer it going up with, give me some decimals, give me some, 16.23% looks a little bit more natural than just a flat 15%, you know? The percentage depends heavily on the difference in power projection of your country and the countries in the location. Yes, I said countries in plural. Next you can understand what we're talking about. This has the implication that at the start of the game, Yuan could in theory start colonizing Europe. You could colonize places already owned by tags. You can colonize places already owned by other tags. Wow, that is certainly... Wow, okay. Alright. I guess if Yuan knew of Europe and started trying to colonize, France at the start of the game, I imagine all it would be doing would be giving population to France, though, right? Okay. How the countries and pops already present in a location react to colonization is something that will be clarified in later Tinto talks. No, this is important information. I need it. As long as you have a colonial charter, people from your from your owned locations will start moving to the locations in the colonial charter. The amount of people moving is rather low at the beginning of the game, but there are advances that will increase it in later ages. Societal values will have an impact on it, and so does the distance to the colony. Can you set up a colonial charter in your own land? Because then basically you would, that would be a way of encouraging migration in a way. Maybe it has to be overseas or something. One thing to take into account is that colonization does not magically create new pops out of thin air. Good. Being able to create a huge colonial empire is not a feasible strategy as a low population country, naturally. And then monthly migration here, plus 25 pops per month. Due to, distance is affecting it. That is very interesting. Outward societal value, of course, colonial investments there. Okay. The distance means that it goes, down, right? Söderåsbotten is not very far away from Stockholm. It's just not. And already it's losing, 0.02. It's not that much. But if it's going to lose that over that shorter distance, imagine how much you're going to be losing trying to colonize, say, New York or Panama or something along those lines. Very, very interesting. Only 40 months for the location to get to 1,000 pops. It seems like actually kind of reasonable, but again, it's so close. Colonial charters are not free, and moving people are definitely not free, and countries need to support them. The higher the population in the target province, the more expensive it is to colonize. The distance also has an impact, but colonizing in the same area or region as your capital is significantly cheaper. It always could cost to your charters, but that will also reduce the amount of pops moving every month. So the cost here is the amount of population and the distance. The fact that it's in the same region lowers the cost. Okay. Not so expensive, but again, the distance here is just not really any distance at all. Again, let's have a quick gander. The Scandinavia Tinto map. If I can find the areas. Well, there's Österbotten, and it'd be going from Uppland. So yeah, it's very, very close. Where that. And it also starts with a lot of Swedish population there already, so yeah, this may not have been the best example of colonialism, let's say. I mean, it is colonialism, colonizing Finland with Sweden is colonialism, but most people will be thinking of, Portugal colonizing Brazil, England colonizing North America. Having those numbers might be a little bit more relevant to more people. But anyway, Colonial Nations. When a colonial charter is finished and all possible locations in that province have become yours, you have multiple options for what you want to happen to that charter. If the province is close and you think you can get decent enough control of it, you may want to just keep the locations as part of your home country. So, like if you are Sweden colonizing Finland. You also have the option to have the province form a new colonial nation or have it join an adjacent colonial nation. Colonial nations are a subject type that cannot be annexed, but it has a few advantages or disadvantages depending on your point of view. in that while they start transferring less gold than a vassal would, they also grant some manpower and sailors, while also giving part of their merchants to their overlord. To clarify, you can make colonial nations anywhere on the map when you colonize, where you can colonize. Okay. I suppose this also very much helps the historical reality, right? England colonizing into the Americas created 13 colonies. In EU4, that means we have one colonial nation called 13 colonies. In reality, that would be 13 separate colonies, 13 provinces that we've colonized, each of them being, you know, an individual colony. But that's really, really cool. If you feel that your charters or colonial nations are not growing enough, there are two tools you can use in the cabinet. Both of these become available from advances in the Age of Discovery. With supporting a colonial charter, you will move pops from a province you decide upon and to the colonial charter you decided. The amount of pops getting moved depends on your current colonial migration capacities, so when you use it, you can about double the migration to a specific colony, place, province, something, charter. Probably charter. With the supporting colonies, you can move 100 pops every month from a selected province to a target province in a colonial nation subject. This can be useful when you want to boost a colony and you have the overpopulated provinces at home, or when you think your country would be in a better situation if you could expel some minorities. Alright. Restrictions. What restrictions do we have? There are several ways which can block other nations from colonizing certain places, including diplomatic treaties. At the start of the game, Norland, Finland, Karelia and Kola are under the claims of Sweden and Novgorod, who have divided that area between them. We also have a situation, the Treaty of Tordesillas, where the New World will be split among two Catholic powers, causing lots of interesting dynamics. Alright, so here these are cultures. Sort of. It's a teaser for next week. Is this a colonialism kind of map mode? These are... Okay, oh, hang on, I think I kind of understand. So, last Tinto talks, or I guess Tinto maps, we looked at Western Africa. And a lot of the complaints that I saw were, don't leave the map empty, these places had people in them. And while, of course, it was a little bit ridiculous because those people existed as populations, them not being on the political map mode caused a little bit of a conniption. This seems to be something that would solve that, right? This is... I mean, if we saw this for Western Africa, so I'm sure we'd see basically what we have in Victoria 3. Like, you know, these people being shown on the map. This time, though, instead of it being on the political map, it's on whatever this map mode is, the fun map mode, showing the various peoples that live here. It's sort of like a culture map mode, but more of a political map mode for unrecognized peoples, potentially something along those lines. Okay. Next, we'll talk about the difference between countries and why owning locations is not all there is to life. Okay, so non-province owning tags is something that has been hinted at multiple times. It's a pretty much confirmed theory at this point. I don't think it is absolutely 100% confirmed. But I definitely think we're getting landless tags as a dev diary next week, which will be certainly interesting. But yeah, I would love to have seen something about here, like these provinces are under the claims of Sweden and Novgorod, who've divided the area between them. Like, who's claimed what right now? Okay, do we have a province map mode here? No, we need more of an area map mode, and there isn't one that I can see. But I mean, obviously everyone knows where Finland is. Norland is land up in the north, and then Karelia here. So maybe that's kind of what we're talking about, where they've split the land, Karelia and Kola. So Karelia here, and then Kola is this peninsula up at the top. So the ability to claim various lands to colonize is going to be a thing. That's cool. Okay, my thoughts. I'm pleasantly surprised at how much I like this. Obviously, EU4 system was just untenable. If it was the same system come again, it would not have been a good system. It would not have been welcomed. It was time to move on. I think here this could be a bit more granular, a little bit more, in percentages that aren't so even, let's say. But other than that, I think this has a lot of potential. I like that you can choose whether you want this land that you're colonizing to be your own land or a colonial nation. I like that colonial nations are a lot more malleable, right? I can create a colonial nation, a colonial subject, if I've completely colonized a province, right? A province is a group of locations. Then when I do the next group, I can either create another colony or I can integrate that colony into an existing colony. And there's no real restriction, it seems, on how that works. I love the idea as well that you can colonize over other people's land, right? How much that's going to be viable, I don't know. One thing that I could see happening, and oh my god, I'm going to get shit for this one, England colonizing Ireland. I think that might be something we end up seeing. That might be an example of where this is going to come into play. Being able to colonize somebody else's country, if you have a high enough population and they have a low enough population, I mean, the implications of that are huge, right? So obviously talking about Yuan here, they could start colonizing Europe, sure, but Yuan's super high population, where are they bordering that has a low population that they could actually start doing some of this kind of influence? Colonizing Mongolia, sure, it borders, there's a low population, you could probably start doing some stuff there. But also maybe going into like the Siam kind of area, into Southeast Asia, that could be a thing as well. Japan colonizing Ainu, right? That kind of thing could work as well. I think there is a lot of potential with this system, and I really, really like that idea. It's kind of historical as well. I can see this being good. I can see this being very, very good. I am pleasantly excited about this. It could also be a method of culture conversion in a way. Could the Germans start colonizing Poland? And a bit of that. What do they call it? Ostleadzung or something along those lines. Dodgy word. I'm pretty sure it's not. It's not like nowadays. But I mean, it's kinda. It happened. So having that be in the game in some way, in a natural part of the game, rather than simply you're Germany, here is an Ostleadzung modifier that gives you, positive to culture conversion or, migration or something along those lines. But having it be actually a part of the game that anyone can do if they are so inclined, awesome. Awesome. Love that. But I think this has got meat on it. This does have meat on it. And the ability, power projection here as well, being completely different from EU4. I mean, it's another case of a system in EU4 with a certain name is, not being carried over to EU5, but the name is, and it just means something else now. I mean, sure. This is also going to be very, very useful for games like, Europa Victorialis, the upcoming Victoria mod for EU5. Sure, that's going to be very useful for that kind of thing. But yeah, I am pleasantly surprised with what I see, and I am very much looking forward to getting more information on it. I think that is going to be pretty much the case across the board. Everyone's just going to want more information. But let me know what you guys think. As per usual, I would be very excited to read your comments. I read them all, respond to as many as I can. And yeah, I would be excited to know if my thoughts about this are, universal, that everyone likes this. Or if I'm missing something heinous that I should be, oh no, this is the thing here is terrible. Something along those lines. So let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you want to. The next video will be on Saturday, where I go over the Tinto Johan responses to this dev diary, because I'm sure there will be a bunch. There will be no Tinto maps on Friday, though, so I guess enjoy the break on that one. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Thanks all for watching. Bye-bye.